Rain hammered the window of Blackwater Hall with the patience of prisoner tapping on stone. The old mansion stood alone on the cliffs above the sea, its towers hollowed by fog and darkness. Inside, 12 guests sat around a long dining table beneath a chandelier that flickered like a dying star. No one spoke after the scream. At the head of the table, Professor Edwin Velus slumped sideways in his chair. A thin line of blood trickled from the corner of his mouth onto the white tablecloth. His wineglass lay shattered beside him. Lady Margaret Blackwater rose first. "Nobody moved," she whispered, but everyone moved. Chairs crept backward. The butler crossed himself. A young journalist named Clara Whitmore stepped closer to the body while Dr. Simon Reed checked for the pulse. "He's dead," Simon announced grimly. Thunder rolled above the cliffs. Clara looked around the room carefully. Hours earlier, the guests had arrived for what Professor Vale called a revelation that would change history. The famous archaeologist had recently returned from Egypt with rumors of a stolen artifact and dangerous secrets. Now he was dead before he could speak. The doors burst open as Inspector Julian Cross entered, drenched from the storm. The local police station had received a frantic call moments earlier. "No one leaves the house," Cross ordered, removing his wet coat, "until I know what happened here." The guests exchanged nervous glances. Cross had sharp gray eyes that missed little. He studied the dead man, then the remains of a wineglass. "Poison," he murmured. Dr. Reed nodded slowly. "Likely fast acting, which means," Cross said, turning toward the table, "someone here murdered Professor Vale." Lightning illuminated their faces one by one. Lady Margaret Blackwater, owner of the mansion, elegant despite her age. Clara Whitmore, ambitious journalist searching for a career-making story. Dr. Simon Reed, Vale's longtime friend. Victor Graves, a wealthy collector of rare antiques. Elena Vale, the professor's estranged daughter. 6 others, each with their own reasons to fear the truth. Cross began his questioning immediately. Did Professor Vale have enemies? Victor Graves laughed bitterly. Half the archaeological world hated him. For what? For stealing discoveries and taking credit. Elena folded her arms. "You forgot blackmail." The room fell silent. Cross turned sharply. "Explain." "My father wasn't a good man," Elena said coldly. "He collected secrets like treasures. If he knew something damaging about you, he used it." Margaret looked away. "Interesting," Cross thought. The storm worsened as midnight approached. The telephone lines were dead, and the road down the cliffs had flooded. They were trapped until morning. Perfect conditions for murder. Cross searched the professor's study upstairs. Dusty books lined the walls beside maps of ancient ruins. On the desk sat a leather notebook, missing several torn pages. Clara appeared in the doorway. "You think missing pages matter?" she asked. "They usually do." She hesitated before speaking again. "Professor Vale planned to expose someone tonight." "Who?" "I don't know, but earlier I overheard him arguing with Lady Margaret." Cross raised an eyebrow. "About?" She begged him not to reveal something. Before Cross could reply, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the mansion. Somewhere downstairs, a woman screamed. Cross grabbed a candle and rushed into the hallway. They stumbled through shadows below as the storm rattled the windows. Then another voice cried out. Victor's gone. They found Victor's grave in the library, dead. He lay sprawled beside the fireplace with a knife buried in his chest. Panic spread instantly. There are two killers. Someone shoot it. No, Cross said quietly, probably one. He knelt beside the body. Victor's had clutched a scrap of paper. Cross carefully unfolded it. It contained only 3 words. She knows everything. Cross looked slowly around the room. Who is she? Nobody answered. Hours passed. Fear poisoned the air worse than the storm outside. Guests whispered accusations behind closed doors. Clara couldn't sleep. Near 2 in the morning, she wandered into the east corridor and noticed light beneath Lady Margaret's bedroom door. Voices. She moved closer. Should have stayed buried, Margaret whispered. Another voice replied softly, It's too late now. Clara froze. The second voice belonged to Dr. Simon Reed. Suddenly, the floorboard beneath Clara cracked. The voices stopped. The door opened instantly. Margaret stared at her with eyes calm. Eva's dropping is dangerous, Miss Whitmore. Clara forced a smile. So is murder. Margaret closed the door without another word. At dawn, Inspector Cross gathered everyone in the grand hall. The storm had finally awakened, but tensions remained sharp enough to cut glass. I know who killed Professor Vale, Cross announced. Shock rippled through the room. Cross paced slowly before them. Professor Vale discovered something in Egypt years ago, not treasure evidence. Evidence linking a member of his household to an unsolved murder. He stopped beside Lady Margaret. 20 years ago, Margaret Blackwater's husband died mysteriously during an expedition with Vale and Simon Reed. Margaret's face hardened. Vale recently decided to reveal the truth. He intended to blackmail Margaret one final time. Clara gasped softly. Margaret poisoned him to silence him, Cross said, but Victor Graves discovered her secret. He confronted her in the library and she killed him too. No, Margaret said calmly, you're wrong. Cross frowned. Am I? Margaret smiled faintly. I poisoned Edwin, yes, but I did not kill Victor. A terrible silence followed. Then Dr. Simon Reed stepped forward. I did. Everyone stared at him. Simon removed his glasses with trembling hands. Victor recognized me. 20 years ago, during the expedition, I killed Margaret's husband. An accident during a fight, but Vale helped cover it up. Margaret closed her eyes. Edwin used our secrets for years. Simon continued. Threats, money, control. Tonight, Margaret finally ended it. And Victor? Cross asked. He overheard us talking after the poisoning. He said he would go to the police. Simon's voice broke, panicked. Clara looked at them both in disbelief. 2 murders, 2 different motives, one terrible secret buried for decades. Outside, morning light finally pierced the fog around Blackwater Hall. Inspector Cross stepped toward Simon and Margaret. It's over, he said quietly. For the first time all night, nobody argued. Panicked. The last train to Ravensshade arrived at 11:45 p.m., groaning like something wooden in the fog. Amelia Hart stepped onto the empty platform, clutching a leather suitcase and a letter she had read at least 20 times during the journey. Come at once, Eleanor's death was no accident. The message was unsigned. Cold wind swept through the station, carrying the scent of rain and pine from the surrounding forest. Ravensshade was a small mountain town forgotten by maps at the time, the kind of place where secrets survive longer than people. A man waited beneath the flickering station lamp, tall, dark-clad, sharp features softened by tired eyes. Miss Hart, he... Amelia nodded cautiously. I'm Detective Nathan Vale. The name struck her immediately. She knew it from newspapers years ago, a brilliant investigator who had disappeared after a scandal in London. You knew my sister? Amelia asked quietly. Nathan glanced toward the forest road. I was investigating her death before the case was closed. Closed as suicide. Yes, his expression darkened too quickly. They climbed into his car and drove through winding roads swallowed by mist. Ravenshade appeared slowly ahead. Old stone buildings, dim lights behind curtained windows, and the silhouette of Blackthorn Manor overlooking the town from the hill above. Eleanor had worked there as a historian before her death. Amelia stared at the manor. That's where she died? Nathan nodded. She fell from the West Tower 3 weeks ago. And you think she was murdered? I think he said carefully. Your sister discovered something dangerous. Rain tapped softly against the windshield. Amelia studied him from the corner of her eye. He carried himself like a man permanently exhausted by ghosts. You cared about her, she suddenly. Nathan's hands tightened slightly on the steering wheel. Yes, the answer hung between them longer than expected. They arrived at Ravenshade Inn just after midnight. Nathan carried her suitcase inside while the elderly innkeeper pretended not to watch them closely. Before leaving, Nathan handed Amelia a brass key. What's this? Your sister rented a storage room behind the old church. The police never searched it. Why give it to me? Because someone followed me tonight. Amelia felt a chill. Nathan stepped closer, lowering his voice. Trust no one in this town. Their eyes met briefly, long enough for Amelia to notice the sadness hidden beneath his calm exterior. Then he left. Unable to sleep, Amelia waited until dawn before waking. Research notes, newspapers, clippings, and photographs of Ravenshade's dating back decades. One photograph caught her attention immediately. A group portrait taken 20 years earlier in front of Blackthorn Manor. Among the faces stood a young Nathan Vale, and beside him her breath stopped. Eleanor. No, recently, 20 years ago. Impossible. The church door slammed upstairs. Amelia froze. Slow footsteps cracked above her. Someone was inside. She quickly searched for the boxes again and found a journal hidden beneath loose floorboards. Before she could open it, the footsteps descended toward the basement. Amelia extinguished her lantern. Darkness swallowed the room. A figure appeared at the bottom of the stairs carrying a flashlight. Amelia? Nathan's voice whispered. Relief flooded through her. You nearly killed me. Nathan looked genuinely alarmed. I saw someone enter the church. There is someone else. A shadow moved upstairs. Both of them heard it. Nathan pulled a revolver from beneath his coat and rushed upward. Amelia followed despite every instinct warning her not to. The church was empty. Only the front door swung slowly in the wind. Nathan cursed under his breath. Whoever it was knew this place. Amelia held up the photograph she had found. Explain this first. Nathan stared at the image silently. You knew my sister 20 years ago? Yes. You told me you were investigating her death? I was. But you never told me she was your lover. The accusation landed harder than she intended. Nathan looked away because it complicated everything. Amelia opened the journal with trembling hands. Inside was Eleanor's entries. Most described the local history research beneath Blackthorn Manor, tunnels, hidden chambers, disappearances connected to the founding families of Ravenshade. Then Amelia found the final entry. If anything happens to me, trust Nathan. He's the only one who doesn't belong to them anymore. Them? What does that mean? Amelia demanded. Nathan hesitated too long. 20 years ago, he finally said, Ravenshade wasn't just a town, it was a society. Outside, thunder rolled across the mountains. The founding families control everything. Here Nathan continued with police cars. People vanish if they threaten the wrong secrets. And Eleanor discovered this. She discovered the society never disappeared. Amelia's pulse quickened. Nathan stepped closer. Your sister believes someone inside Blackthorn Manor was connected to several arrests and deaths. Who? I don't know. You're lying. His silence confirmed it. Amelia turned away angrily. You know more than you're saying. Yes, Nathan admitted softly, because I was part of them once. The confession hit like ice water. Before Amelia could respond, a gunshot exploded through the church windows. Glass shattered everyone. Nathan grabbed her instinctively and pulled her behind a stone pillar as another shot rang out. Someone outside was trying to kill them. Nathan returned fire through the broken windows. Back exit, he shouted. They escaped into the rain behind the church and ran through narrow alleys until the shooting stopped behind them. Breathless, Amelia leaning against a brick wall beneath a street lamp. Nathan checked the empty street before turning toward her. I'm sorry. For which part? She snapped. The lies, the secret society, or getting me a shot at? All of it. Rain shocked his coat and darkened his hair. For the first time since arriving, Amelia saw fear in his face. Not for himself, for her. They killed Eleanor because she found proof, he said quietly. Proof linking the town council to murders stretching back decades. And where is the proof now? Nathan looked at the journal in her hands. Amelia opened the final page carefully. A map had been drawn inside. Beneath it, Eleanor had written 3 words: under the manor chapel. Nathan inhaled sharply. That's impossible. Why? Because the chapel burned down 50 years ago. At the exact moment the church bells began ringing across Raven Shade, slow, hollow, ominous. Nathan's expressions changed instantly. What is it? No one rings those bells. A figure stood at the far end of the street, watching them through the rain, tall, motionless, wearing a black coat. Then the figure stepped forward into the light. Amelia's blood turned cold. It was Eleanor, or someone who looked exactly like her. Nathan stared in disbelief. The woman smiled faintly before disappearing into the fog. Amelia turned toward Nathan, shaking beyond words. You told me my sister was dead. Nathan looked just as terrified as she felt. I saw her body.